Muy bien. Buenas tardes a todos y todas. I will go in Spanish now. Gracias, Gabriela Ramos. Gracias, ministra Rose Paul. Gracias por venir. Gracias, ministro Reti. Y muchas gracias también, Tomás Lamanauskas. Amigos y amigas. Buenas tardes y muchísimas gracias por acudir a este side event sobre la inteligencia artificial. El tema, siempre digo que es el tema de mayor actualidad, de mayor importancia, de discusión global en estos momentos, como es la inteligencia artificial y también su gobernanza. La inteligencia artificial también como un catalizador para un progreso económico sostenible y justo. Es un honor para mí dar comienzo a este acto en Sevilla, dentro de la cuarta Conferencia Internacional sobre Financiación para el Desarrollo, una ocasión excelente para marcar posiciones y compartir ideas sobre la cooperación tecnológica, la financiación del desarrollo, la defensa del multilateralismo, tan importante en estos momentos, y también la gobernanza digital, de la que vamos a discutir a continuación. La revolución digital ofrece oportunidades inmensas para el progreso en ámbitos como la salud, la educación, la movilidad o el medio ambiente. Pero también representa desafíos que no podemos obviar, como la brecha digital mundial, una desigualdad reforzada por las tensiones geopolíticas a la que debemos responder con ideas y soluciones. España tiene claro que hay alternativa y que podemos liderarla quienes estamos aquí ahora, porque los países de Oceanía, Asia, África, Latinoamérica y Europa somos la gran mayoría global. No somos solo mercados, somos toda una civilización. Está en nuestras manos defender un orden mundial digital, quizás imperfecto, pero definitivamente más justo, el orden multilateral, el que propone Naciones Unidas y también la Unión Europea, para afrontar los retos de nuevas tecnologías como las tecnologías cuánticas o la propia inteligencia artificial. Paremos un momento y pensemos, ¿cómo no vamos a reflexionar ante la mayor revolución antropológica desde el uso del fuego? ¿Cómo no vamos a poner encima de la mesa la gobernanza de la inteligencia artificial? Hoy nos reunimos en esta sala precisamente para hacer propuestas sobre las potencialidades de una tecnología disruptiva que puede darnos mucho. Está muy animada la sala de al lado. Hoy hablamos con voz propia y con múltiples acentos quienes apostamos por una inteligencia artificial útil, ética y responsable. Porque a la tecnología le pasa como a la economía. No es justa ni objetiva por naturaleza, porque no tiene naturaleza. La inteligencia artificial de hoy tiene agenda y tiene sesgo. Pero está en nuestras manos darle un giro que combine competitividad, cooperación y derechos. Muchos países estamos haciendo esfuerzos en esa dirección y esperamos que los ejemplos e ideas que vamos a compartir sirvan para marcar el camino hacia la gobernanza digital de la inteligencia artificial. Y ahora sí, Gabriela, the floor is yours. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, señor ministro, por esta muy buena presentación inicial. Les voy a recomendar algo. Como hay mucho ruido, todos ustedes tienen esto y lo pueden utilizar por el audio original, entonces no va a haber más ruido y vamos a poder escucharnos mejor. A los speakers les pido, I would really like to ask you to push the mic when you speak. I think that the minister has just put the conversation in the right format. First, congratulations to Spain, congratulations to the UN system for this amazing conference, for the Compromiso de Sevilla, for all the very good news that are coming out from this conference. And as I told the minister when he arrived, I could not imagine this conference without this conversation. The conversation of how artificial intelligence can be part of the solutions for development, and how we could really not only talk about the financing, which is the purpose of this very important gathering, but also how do we align the financing with the goals that we are searching for. Of course, Carme, you were in the Global Digital Compact. We have the UN system that has delivered, member states have delivered the Global Digital Compact, part of all these elements that are related to the UN agencies' outcomes. And the message is exactly what Minister Lopez said. How much are we going to channel and steer the development of these technologies for them to become a partner for development, avoiding the risk, avoiding what we see now, which is very unequal distribution of the means for AI, very concentrated at the top in terms of the developments, but also with some good news, and I feel that this conversation is what it's going to be about. How do we consider open data, data centers, infrastructure, digital infrastructure as global public goods? How do we move towards that framing of the discussion, not to be a market-driven, profit-driven endeavor, but something that is really delivering for our people? And the promises are just huge, because just taking over and just embedding the technology in so many of the processes, of development processes, but also of enterprises, it would really take us far. So without further ado, let me tell you that we also have an amazing panel, starting, of course, with the Minister of Digital of Spain, which we just thank for hosting us. But we also have the Minister of Post, Telecommunications and Digital Economy from Guinea, Rose Paula Primeso. Priseme. Welcome, Rose Minister. We have from New Zealand Mr. Shane Retty, Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology. Welcome. And we also have our dear friend Thomas Lamanauskas, who is the Deputy Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union. Thank you, Thomas, and long-time partner in many endeavors related to artificial intelligence. The discussion today is really going to be how do we frame these technologies, how do we use it, how we really leverage the potential that they have. And I'm very pleased that Minister Primeso, she had been also in charge of small and medium-sized enterprises. We all think that AI is everywhere. Everybody's using AI, everybody knows AI. Well, not the case. We still have 1/3 of the world that is not connected to internet, and small and medium-sized enterprises in particular are having more problems in terms of incorporating them in their processes. So, Minister, without any further ado, I will ask you to just tell us what concrete policies Guinea is promoting to support the small and medium-sized enterprises in adopting AI and digital technologies so innovation can deliver on sustainable development. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Gabriela, and thank you, Honorable Minister Lopez, for inviting me come to discuss with this panel. First of all, my English is so bad, but I'm going to explain what we are doing in Guinea, what is the context. Maybe it's gonna be similar with some country in our region. Let me begin by thanking the Kingdom of Spain and the United Nations for organizing this timeline and important gathering. In the Republic of Guinea, we believe that artificial intelligence should not become a luxury reserved for a few. It must be a catalyst for transformation, a tool for justice and equity. Under the leadership of our president, the General Mamadi Doumbouya, we made a strategic choice to place digital transformation at the heart of our national development. All the axes must have some part of digital part. In line with our Simandu 2014 vision, I think people start to see Simandu 2040, what is it? Is a big mining project, but around that project we are going to leverage our development. First, we think about the infrastructure. A country without digital infrastructure cannot produce or host artificial intelligence. We are finalizing our data center now, designed to host a critical public service. We are currently connecting all our region, all our prefecture. Guinea is already connected to ACE, submarine cable, and has 6 sub-regional exchange points. And we are working to land additional cable in the near future. Second, we think on inclusion and digital skills. We think that we cannot talk about artificial intelligence without telling people what are going to be the use of that intelligence artificial. We must tell them how can be for them when they want to rent material for the agriculture, when they want to use hospital, when they want to sell something. When they want to go to school, what can be the use of intelligence artificial? So for that, we are building the community-based digital hub where people can go there in the proximity to learn how they use digital material, how to use the EI. What is EI? And we also make a mediatek in every school. Right now we are trying to connect in all our university. We have also launched the program we call ERCON, which train rural population to use essential digital public service. In the third one, we think that governance and ethics and cybersecurity must be one of the things important with AI. We think that when you use AI, you are going to use a lot of data. How people can get their data protected. So we are trying to put an authority. That authority will control and regulate the use of data. And we think also that people are not going to be in the frontier, the barrier with our state now. We think that we can get some project, AI project, regional AI project, and for that, people must have some reglementation, uniformized reglementation, that if you use my data to produce AI next to your country, you must have some reglementation that will assure me that my data are going to be useful and in the correct way. And we think also that our ambition is to be open, use our language, area language, local language, and for that, we think that our entrepreneur, our small entrepreneur must have an environment where they can build consequently the application that can answer the problematic. So government made a program in place that can help support our people, our young people, which want to be an entrepreneur. And for that, we think that could be a part of our financial, the declaration we can make here to say there is several years when institutions give some financial to the country. They say, no, you must have some part about equity, gender equity. You must have some part about climate. We must tell them that they must have part of digitalization. So that part will help us to move forward, and even it's for infrastructure, road infrastructure, or for hospital, we must have that dimension. And to finish, I would like to propose something in this panel that we can call for the creation of a multilateral fund for inclusive AI. We can also financing of a green data center across Africa. We can also call for the establishment of a Francophone AI excellence network and the share open source tool for public administration and university in the global south. And finally, an intelligence artificial must not reproduce the inequality of the physical world. It must correct them, rebalance them, bring people and opportunities closer together. What Guinea seeks is not charity, but partnership between equals. We are ready and we are building, training and innovating. Thank you for the invitation and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister. Your English was perfect.
Thank you.
And the content was best. Because at the end, the Minister has just touched upon all of the elements that we need to have there, as we are calling them digital public infrastructure, talking about infrastructure, skills, governance, rules, and bringing the solutions to the concrete population that we want to tackle. So congratulations. I think that was a very good round to start the conversation. And also because you were talking about conditionality and creating the incentives for channeling more AI to different aspects. I'm going to turn now to the Minister of New Zealand, Mr. Reti, because we have these conversations all the time about regulation versus innovation. But what we're hearing from Guinea, what we're hearing in Spain, what we're hearing in the Global Digital Compact is the how do we put these things together for them to deliver for the Sustainable Development Goals. So over to you to share your experience in New Zealand.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I acknowledge you, Minister Lopez, and my colleagues on the panel. Now, like many countries, New Zealand is working to strike the right balance between enabling economic growth through artificial intelligence while managing the risks and maintaining alignment with our international partners. Last year, our Cabinet agreed to a light touch, proportionate, and risk-based approach to artificial intelligence. We chose to rely on our existing technology-agnostic legislative frameworks. Let's see how the translators go with that. Particularly on those covering consumer protections in favour of flexible regulatory tools such as guidance, rather than introducing standalone AI legislation. This approach is designed to give businesses, innovators and investors confidence in the stability and suitability of New Zealand's regulatory environment, while ensuring we remain responsive to emerging risks or harms to people or the environment. Now, our approach was guided by the 5 OECD AI principles to which New Zealand is a signatory. As the first intergovernmental agreement on artificial intelligence, these principles provide common ground with our trusted partners. They commit us to an approach that upholds the rule of law, human rights and democratic values, including fairness, privacy, robustness, security and safety. The power of multinational forums and agreements like these should not be underestimated. AI is a global policy challenge, and it's essential that the net importers of this technology have a seat at the table to ensure AI contributes to economic sustainability and just progress. Turning to a more focused issue, a complex picture is emerging in terms of AI and environmental sustainability. On one hand, AI can enhance climate modelling, improve energy grid efficiency, and optimise agriculture to reduce the use of, say, pesticides and fertilisers. On the other hand, the growing energy demands of AI hardware pose potential environmental risks, particularly in countries reliant on carbon-intensive energy sources. With well over 80% of our electricity generated from renewables and significant untapped potential, we're well positioned to become a green hyperscaler hub for the Pacific. Our new fast-track approval regime for infrastructure projects strengthens our ability to attract investors and developers who are committed to environmental sustainability. Now, if we exceed in attracting them, these projects can help us advance several SDGs, including those focused on industry, innovation, infrastructure, climate action and global partnerships. As this fast-moving technology continues to evolve, New Zealand remains committed to shaping AI policy in a way that supports the SDGs, ensuring our regulatory settings are future-ready, inclusive and grounded in values that promote long-term sustainable growth. In conclusion, what is also very important is that we have the social licence from citizens to utilise their data and to push the envelope in what is fundamentally areas of high probability. Note, not perfect probability, high probability. And for this, we must take citizens with us and establish that trusted social licence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Many thanks, Minister. I think that the New Zealand experience shows that the directionality and the alignment, what you exactly say, the rule of law of these technologies, there is no one-size-fits-all kind of framework. Of course, I'm very proud that I'm here as the person that managed the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI, 194 countries signing to it. But the substance is the same: transparency, explainability, accountability. And if we take away the technological debate, all of these principles is the way we want to live together as societies. So I think we are only trying to align them. I would like now to move to our host, Minister Óscar López, because Spain has been leading in this conversation in so many ways. You were the very first country that got into the digital rights, the Charter. You have been very active in the Global Digital Compact. So the question is, how do we translate the Global Digital Compact, which is exactly what we're saying, a technology that furthers the public good, a technology that helps us achieve our objectives as humanity. How do we translate that into the implementation phase?
Thank you very much. I'll go straight to the point, because actually this is the real discussion in the world. I mean, when you go to any other forum, like, I don't know, Davos or any other forum in the world, there's a strong debate between competitiveness and regulation. So there's a strong view on deregulating, and I'm worried about that. Because even the biggest expert on AI in the world, in the whole world, doesn't know where are we going to finish if we don't try to regulate, to build a model, a humanistic model of AI, of all these digital transformations. So from our point of view, it's the Spanish point of view. I hope it is a European point of view, but things are changing now, always are changing, and we defend the model. I mean, we think of this human technology, and we've made some efforts here in Spain. Here in Spain, we made the first digital charter, digital rights charter for citizens. Then that was a model for other countries, but we made a whole charter of digital rights. We made an observatory just to follow this digital rights charter. We are now implementing all the European regulatory framework. I mean, I'm talking about the DSA, all the new laws about cybersecurity, data protection. Never forget that it was under the Spanish presidency that the European Union made the first law on AI in the whole world. I mean, the European AI Act is the first law in the world about AI, about regulating AI. But now we hear strong voices that want to go back, want to deregulate. They say now in Europe, there are many voices saying, stop the clock. I don't agree with this stop the clock point of view. I think it's much more about synchronizing our clocks between Europe, all the countries in Europe, but not stopping the clock, because there are many debates on the table. I mean, we are talking now about children protection. We are talking about data protection. We are talking about the use of data. We are talking about an inclusive AI. We are talking about transparency on the algorithm. So we need strong voices to defend a humanistic, a human AI, a human development for. And I think try to be humble, we are only Spain, we are the fourth country in Europe, we are not China, we are not the US, we are only Spain. But I think we find a way. I mean, I think we've been really, really hard on developing AI. We have even our own model of AI, it's called Alia, it's learned in Spanish, it's open, it's public. We developed our own language model. We've been investing for many years in this Barcelona Supercomputing Center. Now it's one of the strongest computing centers in the world. It's going to be really important to democratize all the digital agenda and the AI, because never forget that most of the companies in Spain and even in Europe are really small companies who need help just to get access to all the development. And we are investing a lot. We are investing lots of millions of euros in not only in research, but only in skills. All the European universities, all the Spanish universities have programs about AI, about cybersecurity. So that is really, really important. We need many people now in all this digital agenda. Because let me tell you something. You can have a plan without funds, or you can have funds without a plan. And I think we have both of them. We had a plan, then we all suffered the pandemic, and as you know, in Europe, we made big decisions, like having these recovery funds. In Spain, we are using most of these recovery funds precisely to this, to the digital transformation. So we are investing a lot, not only in skills, not only infrastructure, but also in developing even small companies, startups in Spain. We created a new society just to invest directly in new spin-offs from the universities, startups. We are trying to scale them, because it is always the same problem. We need to scale up companies in Europe. So I think that talking about AI, data protection, children protection, you know, now in Europe we are discussing about having a common tool for verifying age of the children, just accessing to all the social media and to contents. And we are trying to develop an industry. We made something really important, we never talk about that, and it was investing hundreds of millions of euros in connectivity. So now that is a great advantage for Spain, because we have one of the best connectivities in the world, not only about fiber, but also on 5G. We've been investing, so now you have like 25% of the homes in Spain, they have high-speed access to internet, and that is a key issue. If you talk about distance and gaps between big cities and the rural areas, that is really, really important. What we made investing in this connectivity is a key issue for Spain. We made another thing that is really important now. We are having many investments because we invested a lot also in green transition. So now we have cheap and green energy, and that is really, really important in this new transition. So, as I told you before, we are only Spain. We are not China. We are not the US, but we know where we want to go, and we don't think there is a. We think you can have a competitive digital world with digital rights and regulating that rights that affect to all of us. So we keep on working in the European Union and to keep moving ahead. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Minister, and actually thank you for reminding us that it was exactly the Spanish presidency that delivered the AI Act. And I have to say that it's very interesting, because when you say regulating or not, even non-regulating is a regulatory decision. And I don't see any sector that had no regulation whatsoever. Of course, light touch is fine, but I feel that you are really putting together a very good infrastructure to deliver for good. And of course, when something goes wrong, like with children, with discrimination, with the algorithms, we need to tackle them. And I have to say that Spain may be doing something right, because at the end, you are the economy that grew the fastest. So I feel that having the right frameworks, as Angel Melguizo here would say, is good business. So I feel that this is a very good example. Let me then bring Tomasz Lamanauskas. As I said, ITU and UNESCO had been working very, very closely in the building of this narrative of a technology that delivers for good. we were partnering for the Global Digital Compact, and one of the things that we were really worried about is there's so many countries, communities, people that are being left behind. As I said, 1/3 that is not connected to a stable internet, and of course ITU is there for connectivity and for many other things. So Thomas, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much, Gabriela. It's so great to be reuniting with you here. So I think, so for those who don't know, so Gabriela and I led, and hopefully temporarily Gabriela is just not leading, so hopefully we'll reunite again on that one, interagency working group on artificial intelligence of the United Nations that brings UN system together to really coordinate UN work in this regard already for quite a few years. So indeed the most pleasurable and work where we're working with one vision and strong team spirit to make sure that UN is delivering on that. And indeed, thank you Minister Óscar López for invitation here for the great financing for development to Spanish government. It's a bit, so people are complaining sometimes about heat, but I can tell you, I always take this heat for the winters in Lithuania. So, so definitely, I'm always, grateful to be here and really pleasure. And of course, it's great to speak after Ministers Retro and Prisemu and hearing such a great experiences from your countries. So, indeed, if we're stepping back a little bit and from those great experiences that we've heard from each of the country that ministers are leading the efforts to really bring AI to the people, where we are. So of course, I think as already was mentioned, AI has this pervasive opportunity to contribute to sustainable development. At least as per some estimates, 80% of the SDG goals can be benefited there. We heard some specific examples. Of course, I take very well the note from Minister Lopez about risks, and I think risks are definitely not to be ignored, and I think that's a lot of work that UN is doing, but it's also a lot of opportunity there to bring that. And one of the key risks, of course, is also to leave people behind. And we have a number of divides here to address. We have infrastructure divide, and of course we talk about third world as non-connected, but if you go deeper in AI aspects, it's actually worse, because only less than 2% of data centers of the world are in Africa, which hosts around 20% of the world's population. Around 90% of AI compute capacity is owned by companies of 2 countries. So this really shows that there's a lot of opportunities for us to bridge that. It's skills, and I think we mentioned there, how we make sure that AI can be used by everyone and actually developed by everyone, not only used. And the policy, and there's still a huge divide there. Again, by our estimates and studies, 85% of countries lack AI regulations and 55% lack at least any policy. So there's still a huge policy gap, which then impacts other gaps, because if policymakers don't show the leadership, as we see in this panel, it's difficult to see the development there. However, what's very very interesting, what they call optimism gap. An optimism gap goes opposite direction. So as per some studies, 2/3 of the respondents across Europe are feeling anxious about AI. It will take their jobs, it will somehow impact their jobs in the work life negatively, whereas in developing countries or low and middle income countries, 70% of the people expect AI to boost their productivity, and 2/3 of the people expect AI to contribute to the better health outcomes, better jobs, better educational outcomes. So for me, that's also very interesting. Okay, the people who can have AI are afraid of it, whereas the people who don't actually want it. And I think that's also, we probably need to figure out how to give AI into the hands of the people who want it, and then hope they also will make the best use of it. So what are we doing from UN side? And of course, we have a lot of recent developments in this regard, and I think Carmen here with the H-Lab, good work that paved the way for the GDC that we're now all discussing on how to implement. And of course, Spain continues leading AI work in UN with Ambassador Hector Gomez Hernandez now leading, I hope, the last days of leading AI modalities resolution to get us also good framework there. However, of course, we're trying to build that frameworks before that, of course, as well, so that UN is coming to that from the strong position. So of course, from my perspective, our AI for Good process and AI for Good summits, and of course I have to do the plug here, so next week I hope to see a lot of you in Geneva for AI for Good summit, most recent edition, where we've been convening since 2017 as a solutions summit, as a place where people, the world come together to demonstrate what AI can do. Since last year, especially adding with the AI Governance Day, we started looking more and more to the risks, and to making sure that it's not only we have opportunities of AI, but we also understand how to govern those risks in the inclusive manner and also in an aware manner as well. So as I mentioned as well, we had already since 2021 interagency working group on artificial intelligence in the UN system that tried to bring all the community together. Both actually AI for Good and interagency working group on AI brings more than 40 UN agencies and entities together to work to deliver that work. So part of that was, of course, we started that work by adapting UNESCO's ethical guidelines to the UN system to make sure that ethical application, that AI application to UN is ethical. But then we moved on as well, supporting H-Lab work through our through our paper on governance of AI in the United Nations system. We identified around 50 instruments, both horizontal as well as very specific, from child protection in the AI fields to criminal justice and others. We are delivering every year actually UN AI activities report, which the most recent report identified more than 400 applications that different UN agencies are trying to implement, to help people, from looking in the flood patterns to delivering, to predicting, food delivery and other things in AI. So that's again using that in practice. And of course, now actually as a most recent task of interagency working with AI, we're developing a toolkit of UN system toolkit to basically what UN can do on AI. So as a tool for national governments as well as resident coordinators of UN system to really leverage AI power in their hands. We do that together with UNESCO and UNDP. Of course, now since the GDC adoption, of course, big focus is how we can deliver on GDC commitments, especially on artificial intelligence. And of course, we have a working group on digital technologies led by ITU and Office of Digital and Emerging Technologies in the United Nations systems, where we bring again UN system together. But we were going to the very, before even, we started, from very beginning also to delivering on very specific commitments of Global Digital Compact. For example, standards on coordination of AI standards. And already last year we convened the first AI Standards Summit together with our partners, other standard organizations such as ISO and IEC, and looking forward to the next AI Standards Summit in December this year in South Korea. We launched AI Skills Coalition to really, what I mentioned before, to bring the skills to every corner of the world. We now have 50 partners in our coalition and bringing to deliver the AI skill sets. By the end of this year, we have a pretty timid goal of 10,000 people that we reach, but of course that will be going exponentially, and that builds on our other initiatives such as Innovation Factory, AI machine learning competitions, and others. This conference is about, of course, investments. And I think that's also bringing back, and again, another plug, because after this session, we'll have another session where UNCTAD and ITU are launching a new initiative to help bring digital infrastructure investments to every corner of the world. But again, as the preparation of this specific summit, Financing for Development Conference, we've been developing what we call Digital Infrastructure Investment Initiative that we launched already as part of a Brazil G20 that was picked up with the South African G20 presidency with a strong participation in Spain, and always happy to have Spain as part of our initiatives in this regard, and our other partners. And Digital Infrastructure Investment Initiative aims to bridge what we call 1.6 trillion gap. So we talk here a lot about 4 trillion gap every year. 1.6 trillion gap by 2030 is digital investment gap. This is the gap that we need to bridge to bring infrastructure, including AI infrastructure, through every corner of the world. So again, thank you very much for having me here. Thank you much, Gabriela, for great moderation. I'm looking forward for working with you all to bring that AI opportunities to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas, and I can attest to the fact that really ITU and UNESCO have been working really very closely on all these things. Full disclosure, I'm here as a Mexican candidate to head UNESCO. That's why he's saying that he wants me back, and I hope I will be back like Director General, but God knows, let we see. But in any case, I feel that one of the elements that we have really got from this round, and we have only 5 more minutes, I know, is that there is this intentionality, there is the tools, there are the policies, there are the analysis. We have options on how we want this technology to evolve. And therefore, we cannot just be private to the fact that it goes and emerges as if we have nothing to do with it. We have a lot to do with it. Good news, because also some of the reports that we were doing at UNESCO are showing that the cost of applications is following sharply, 90%. So in many parts of the world, we will not need to go for foundational models ourselves. Maybe like DeepSeek, who proved that it was possible also to have something that was less intense in an environment and also less costly. But I feel that just thinking about using this to develop tools to address specific issues is a very good news. So moving to the last part, and you have 1 minute each to answer the very, very important question in this context, which is how do we collaborate internationally? You are proving it, Minister, with this very important conference, with the fact that we have el compromiso de Sevilla, and that we are launching all this SPA. When they say SPA, I was like, what is a SPA? Well, it's fantastic because it's these platforms that all the participants are putting together, and therefore you get all these impressive initiatives to get together to deliver for good. So the question is, how do we continue with this collaboration to ensure that the development of these technologies are really aligned with our human goals and human rights? Minister, you go first, and then we go in this order. Or if you want to be last, Minister? Okay, perfect.
Thank you so all my colleagues for this contribution. I just, in Guinea, for example, we have nearly 24% of our population still live in young connected zone, white zone we tell. That can be an alarm, some alert to say to people we must act correctly, because when we want to move forward to go with the attempt of SDG, we think we must invest a lot in AI and technology. And one thing we talk about cooperation. I think this kind of platform is sometime where we can talk together, and we must have a lot of that kind of organization. We have Smart Africa in Africa. We have the WISIS. Next week we are going to talk about all that problematic, and I think that we must have some platform to call about action, to call about how to finance technology, how to reduce inequity in different regions. I think we can encourage some kind of platform like this, and encourage having a regional organization, support them to make policies, to help to develop skills, to renew the program, academic program, to adapt them, and we can work together. We can develop partnership with private sector also. We can have a good collaboration. And thank you. That can will be for me. Thank you.
Minister López.
Okay, 1 minute. I was talking from a European or a Spanish point of view in the last speak. Now I'm going to talk about the global point of view. What I think is we are all the time discussing about competitiveness and also about sovereignty. But I think we have to talk more about cooperation and about multilateralism. So the thing is, of course, Spain is working in the ITU and other institutions, but we are going to support the United Nations. Carmen is here. She's one of the highest architects of Spanish digital transformation. She's been working on the international level. So we are going to support United Nations. We need not only a common regulatory framework, but also investments in third countries. So it is not a question about talking, it is a question about acting, doing. And the Spanish government is the biggest donor right now to the United Nations Office for Digital, it is called so many names, Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies. We are the biggest donors now in the world. We just approved 2 weeks ago 3 million euros for this office of the United Nations. So it is not talking, it is about giving examples. So Spain is investing in the multilateral and United Nations system just to to help everybody and to cooperate.
Walking the talk, Minister. Now let me ask Minister Sheiti, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our contribution to further international AI progress may well be more around how we can collaborate with the small voices in the world who are less heard. More particularly our Pacific family, our small island development states family, the 2% who don't have data centres, that's my family in the Pacific. They don't have data centres. And so how we can collaborate with them, how we can help build workforce around AI, how we can help them with connectivity, with subterranean cables, how we can help our small Pacific country colleagues and bring their voice collectively to the table may well be our best contribution at this point in time to further international AI progress. I do thank and acknowledge those who have stepped fast and quickly into the AI space. To be frank, we are fast followers, so thank you for being out there and learning and us benefiting of your learnings. But this may be our greatest contribution, bringing together the small voices that are less heard. Thank you.
And great job, Minister, that you're doing also with the Maori community. And congratulations for being the very first minister coming from this very great group. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Of course, a lot has been said, but maybe a few just like headlines. Of course, first is investment. Investment in infrastructure, skills, policy, capacity. So we need to invest still around the world to make sure that everyone benefits. Second for me is inclusive governance. And we spoke about the needs of the frameworks and governance, but I think following now from New Zealand minister, I think it's also important to emphasize everyone needs to be included in that governance. Not just a few countries, not a few policymakers, but these different viewpoints need to be heard. And then for me, I would call it integration and impact, understanding that actually AI's impact and value is not in the technology itself, but how we apply it. How we applied it in education, how we applied it in health, how we applied it in agriculture. I think that's why we need those experts from all these different areas, and we need that integration in all these different areas of AI there. We cannot just talk about AI in sort of a silo in the center, but really need to bring that to those communities of practices and professionals that can make it work for everyone. Thanks a lot.
Well, I said at the beginning that I could not imagine this conference on financing for development without touching upon the amazing technological revolution that we are confronting, that is so promising, but also that needs to be channeled. I want to finish with also what our dear minister, the host, said. A plan without funds is as bad as funds without a plan. We have the commitment of Sevilla. We have this very impressive technological drive. Let's just put them together and go for investments, investments, investments. So thank you so much, and please, we need a picture, but please thank our panelists first.